Welcome to The Clean Slate with your hosts, Daniel Garza and Carson Phillips, providing you with movie news, reviews, and more. Sit back, relax, and don't forget to go to the concessions to get your popcorn and drinks. For your entertainment, this is The Clean Slate Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Clean Slate Podcast. I'm Carson Phillips. That guy over there is Daniel Garza.
What
It's
up?
The Clean Slate. We review movies, and today we got a fun one for you, coming all the way from Korea. I've never been,
South
but
Korea to be specific.
South to be specific.
South side?
Pretty far away from us, but this movie made its way into our eyeballs, and I had a great time watching it.
Yeah, this is another kind of similar to First Omen a little bit.
It
Kind of, but not really.
I call it,
It had
the
similar
Korean
vibes.
Exorcist.
That's crazy.
It has that vibe. It's like has all the same things.
Okay, guys, well, this movie is called The Wailing. Soon after a stranger arrives in a little village, a mysterious sickness starts spreading. A policeman drawn into the incident is forced to solve the mystery in order to save his daughter.
Ooh, yeah. Shout out to Joseph Lee, my buddy who showed me this movie. We had a Korean horror film day. We had a marathon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and this was like a few months back, but he was like, "You need to do this for the podcast," and I made
It's
it
a really
happen.
good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's such a good movie. So, you know, guys, hang out with your Korean friends. Watch some Korean movies. Good content comes of it.
Oh, my gosh.
Just to dive a little bit deeper into this movie.
I was waiting to see how long it would take you to jump.
Just to dive a little bit deeper into this movie, it kind of has a unique setup. We start to see this police officer's kind of like day-to-day life. He's kind of like a bumbling character. I wouldn't say he's very heroic at this point or very well put together. Like, he's just kind of doing his best. He's in a small countryside town. Things aren't as crazy as they are in the big city, but then these murders start happening that may be attributed to what we think. Well, it looks like a zombie disease kind of thing.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, it probably isn't that. And
Yeah, big spoiler.
he's very confused by this, and he's investigating, kind of being an idiot still. And there's all these rumors around a Japanese man who lives in the same town, and he's maybe up to something shady. So yeah, so he's investigating all this, but what ends up happening is his daughter is being very affected spiritually by something. We don't know who's doing this or what's happening there. But that, I don't want to spoil too much because there's a lot of twists and turns, but it starts with this kind of bumbling police detective guy and ends up being a deep dive into horribleness.
Okay, guys, but that is it. If you want to go check out this movie,
Do it now.
go ahead. Yeah, it's on Netflix, but we will be talking about spoilers from here on out. So let's start off with dislikes, because I have a lot of likes that kind
do
of
too.
go into theory a little bit. So so I'm really
Theory of
excited.
Relativity.
Okay, cool. So start off with your dislikes.
Man, I've seen this twice now, and I
Okay.
really don't have too many dislikes. I think I kind of wish some of the special effects with these dream sequences with the Japanese man were a little bit better.
Okay.
In some ways, the lo-fi... I mean, this was 2016, right? But the lo-fi nature of those special effects does add a certain charm. But if that was a little bit better, I think it would elevate it for me even more.
Yeah.
And then I guess my only other dislike is it's a little long. It's a little long,
2 hours and 46 minutes long.
which is also part of a like in some ways because I like long movies because you get to live in that world longer. But, you know, a foreign film that's that long can be a bit daunting, especially if you're watching it at night. Like, you need to be in the right frame of mind for this. So it's not really a dig on the movie in this case. It's more me, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
But I honestly have no other dislikes. Maybe some more clarity around what the message is supposed to be, because there's a lot of question marks there.
No, that's what I was going to kind of get into, is why I
like
my theories on it.
Yeah, I like that.
I
like
think
that
it's supposed
aspect
to
of
stay
it.
open-ended to be
I
honest.
think so too. Yeah, I looked up.
Yeah.
There's a deleted scene that I think would ruin the movie.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's that. But yeah, it's a open-ended in a good way, but also a bad way at the same time.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I think that for me, the story is insane. Like, I had no idea what I was getting into. I didn't read any logline or anything getting into this.
Were you like,
so
mad
some
at
of my
me?
no,
You're like,
no,
what
no.
does Carson have me watching?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. And sometimes you get mad.
I do. Yeah, I was just sort of throwing things. Just, what the heck, Carson?
Breaks the TV.
Right. So I would say a couple of my dislikes is, yeah, it feels a little long. Some of the practical effects look a little cheesy, like the eyeballs whenever they would turn like cat-looking ones, like red cats.
Yeah, that was not for me.
You could like clearly see it was contacts, and that the first like time that it happens, I was like, what? Like when he's on the rock looking at the hiker.
Yeah,
you're
just like, oh, come on.
Yeah, I know. I was like, dang it, is this going to be a cheesy? But I was like, I was sticking with it.
Trust the
and
process.
Then, right, I would say I did not like the little daughter as an actress because she seemed one note. She was just screaming for a majority of like.
She's cute at the beginning, though.
Sure. But I'm saying when the, like, I guess it starts affecting her, she just starts screaming, and you're like, okay.
I think that might be a bit more of a direction issue.
Maybe. Yeah, that was just something that I was just like, during that part, I was just...
okay, when she's reunited with her dad later on. And
so sad.
Was that good, though? That was good acting.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, it was great.
I was
it was just that middle part that I was like, I can't stand you. You're so annoying.
The middle and end of this movie get very loud.
Yes, very much
just in
so.
general.
Anyway, and then I think that would be it. I mean, this movie, it tugs on just about every heartstring that you have. So there's a lot there to digest. But let's go now into likes, since we're kind of nudging that way. It's kind of hard to keep it back sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what are your likes
excited.
on this?
Dude,
yeah, for real.
I love this movie. Like I said, I've seen it before, but I feel like I kept finding more stuff to digest this second time. And especially like with our background, like the beginning with the Bible verse and stuff, you're like, oh, that's interesting. And then the way it ties in at the end is so evil and interesting, though. Like, me and Alyssa watched this with me, if you could believe that.
Yikes.
But we talked about it at the end, and we're like, what is that saying? Like, what is that? Like, that's not Jesus.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a lot of interesting conversations to be had with this movie. And even just, like, the cultural implications of seeing, like, traditional Korean, like, folklore and folk traditions, folk religions come into play with, like, you know, some Christianity mixed in is very interesting.
Yeah.
Because I don't know as much about their culture when it comes to, like, religiously, I guess. And so seeing those two tie together makes it unique compared to, like, an American horror film, I guess.
Sure.
Because it's a little bit more new for me, I guess. And so that's creepy because you don't really know what to expect. Most, you know, possession horror films that we have now you kind of know the way it's going to go. Like, it's going to go the Conjuring route or the Exorcist route and follow that, you know, to its conclusion. This has a very different vibe and conclusion. And even, like, this character towards the end that may be good or bad, leaning good, most likely. I think that's such an interesting thing to have this, like, oh, he has to make this hard choice with this character he can't quite trust. And it almost feels like I guess, like reading mythology, or what's it called, like a parable. It's almost like reading a parable where there's like a message here or something. Super interesting. And then I think for me the tone, like, it does change a lot, but I like that. Like, it starts kind of comedic and then it gets darker and darker as you go. So I think that is really cool, and the side characters are fun. So lots of cool stuff in this one. I think the guy, I don't know who plays the Japanese actor, but he is super good in this. Very creepy, but also, like, you feel bad for him. At least once. At least once you start to feel bad for him.
Okay.
There's some, like, sympathetic moments that happen in this movie, and it's clearly manipulating you. Which is really cool that they can pull that off, in my opinion. But I enjoy this movie. Visually, it's super cool. It's gross. There's some eyeball
It's
trauma.
disgusting. Yeah. So my first impressions, which we should start doing this as like a first impression, but my first impression of this movie is I definitely thought it was going to be a zombie movie. I was like, oh, cool,
Yeah.
Korean zombies. I was
Which
like,
usually
feels like
pretty
last
good.
year. Yeah. But then as we started getting deeper, I started like not getting lost, but I was like, hold on a second, this is getting like, it's not zombies. And you kind of like what you were saying, it goes into a way more like spiritual aspect in terms of biblical and just good and evil, kind of, because that's really what it is. It's like good and evil caught, you in between, and you're like, what do I do here? How do I trust anything right now based off of like all the horrible things that I'm seeing? So with that being said, I really love even the cinematography tones that we start off, because we start off in a really beautiful like setting. You got the Japanese man who's just fishing. Everything feels light, but then almost instantaneously you go right into a murder scene. There's like a little bit stuff in between that, but yeah. So also the brutality of it all is just really kind of like jarring, I would say. And then you're all the while trying to fill out this mystery that's going on and being like, okay, what is happening? What are we doing? Like, where are we finding ourselves in terms of figuring this all out? And what you were saying though is like there is a true like battle between like forces that are outside of our control, right? We're in the ones kind of like almost experiencing life. People are dying around us. We're trying to figure things out, trying to stop it, and then it's affecting the family, like his family. But yeah, you kind of, there was this one thing that I was like, they what is it, the Seamus or the Shamus?
It was like a shaman, yeah.
Shaman, thank you.
Yeah.
Seamus.
I mean, maybe they pronounce it that way someplace, but I don't
no, it's a shaman. So anyway, the shaman is like pretty much like a witch doctor who's trying to get rid of the thing that's possessing the daughter. And all the while you're figuring out that like in reality he's not on their side. He's like charging them a butt ton of money, and then and then at the same time you're figuring out that his quote unquote suspect is actually possibly the good person,
but not really.
But kind of, because
but also not.
I think so. Anyway,
you think?
I mean, sure.
Okay.
I would think so. Yeah. The girl?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Never mind.
No, not the Japanese man. No.
Well, he switches between the two, which is interesting.
Yeah, well, sure. Okay, yeah, I guess you're right. But I genuinely think in that instance, there is enough to argue that she is the one who's protecting the family.
Yeah, I think we're being misled. The one.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think overall, and then when the shaman's kind of caught in the middle, I think he's technically working for the Japanese man.
I think so. That's what the deleted scene is. He picks him up in like his car,
interesting.
And they drive off together, which I hate that.
That would have been horrible. So, yeah, I just think that the true story of it all is really, it leaves it up to the viewer to be like what is good and evil, and how can you not apply it to your life, but how can you like see it in everyday life? Mm-hmm. And
there's something. Oh, go ahead. I'll let you.
No, I was done. I
was just gonna say, like, I didn't pick up on this the first time, but this most recent time, and you probably noticed this, is there's a line where he's talking to the woman in white, the ghost, or whatever you want to call her, and he's like, it doesn't make sense that he's attacking my daughter, because the thing that I did bad to him happened after my daughter was already being like demonically oppressed here. So that's kind of interesting, because you think about it, essentially the Japanese guy ends up being Satan or the devil or some kind of demon or something. And there's this idea that like he's just there to cause chaos. It has nothing to do with. There's no reason why this is happening. It's just to cause chaos and destroy everyone's life in this town, which is, I think that's cool that there's like a twist there. Like there's no. We're trying to piece it together like it's a mystery.
Yeah, like why is this happening to me? It's just it just happens. Yeah, for sure. And I think too at the very end, so our main character, who is the father and also the cop, gets this kind of not ultimatum but a choice, or I guess a direction, to be like, once the third rooster crows, then go back to your family. Otherwise, if you don't, do that, then your family will all perish. And he's like, right, he doesn't really trust this woman. He was told that the woman is technically the antagonist. So the rooster only crows twice, and he goes back and inevitably finds his family. But you kind of like piece it together too, of like everybody that this kind of happened to, they, I'm assuming, had the similar choice and
they all
as well
that
failed.
Test.
Yeah. And it's really sad because I mean, I would say too at the same time, what is this actually saying? Like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have ideas, but I really don't know.
Okay, what are some of your ideas?
I mean, like
Quickly,
I said,
before
like
we
I
wrap
think he's just trying to sow chaos. I think there's also a possibility all three of them are working together to test people in general, which is interesting from like a spiritual, theological framework there. See, and then there's like the weird messaging, kind of like obviously there's some animosity between the Korean people and the Japanese people. So I'm like, what is it saying about Japanese people? And I don't think it's saying anything bad, but like there's still that interesting layer that like there's something deeper to unravel that I just don't know how to go about that. Like I'd have to read a textbook or something probably. But
yeah, sure.
There's a lot. It's really good though.
Yeah, I would say the last frame too. I don't know if it's the last frame, but the last scene in the cave where he has the old man has the turn of it, just like it's crazy, and you really just kind of get like I wanted to look away, but I couldn't because I wanted to see how they did it, and I was just like, it was crazy. So I'm really happy my wife is coming back home tonight, so I can have somebody to, protect me. But yeah, guys, do you have any last thoughts?
No, but you guys should watch this movie. If the thing that's keeping you from watching it is subtitles, suck it up. Like, read a little bit, you'll be okay.
Honestly, the length is kind of, but you don't feel it as much. The length, I would say there's maybe one or two times that I felt like, okay, like maybe the scene of the shaman trying to do all this stuff, like that felt a little long.
Yeah, the ritual but at the same time, aspect of it takes a while, which is cool to see though too, because I've never seen anything like that. So
yeah, anyway guys, so The Wailing, you can go check it out. It's on, I forgot what it's on.
It's for you said Netflix, but I think it's on Shudder too, maybe.
Okay, I just watched it. I forgot what I watched it on. It might be on
maybe
Hulu.
check Netflix. It's on one of the main
JustWatch.com. Just go there and you'll find it. It is on a streaming service. But yeah, guys, so this is day 20-something of our 31 Nights of Halloween. Guys, we got a couple more movies for you, and then that's a wrap on the marathon, which is crazy because we've been in a gauntlet of filming, watching, and editing and posting. All for you guys, and you guys are coming through. Like, our views are going up, and it's really exciting.
We're actually going to daily post for the rest of the year.
That would be insane. I would probably end up divorced.
Me too. Well, we can get
oh, that's fine. Anyway, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share the podcast, and just keep watching because we got a lot more stuff coming up, and we are not slowing down this year. We got a lot of fun things coming. So we will see you tomorrow, though, for another episode of 31 Nights of Halloween.
That's a clean slate.